Hello, I'm the reporter Marcela Benetti, and today we are here in this beautiful house to talk with Jonathan Browne about his experience with another cultures and about his own country. Thank you, Jonathan, for your time, for the place we are. It's
Very
so
good.
beautiful, your house. Tell me more about yourself. So, where are you from and what is your profession?
I'm from Limerick, Ireland, and I work as a chef, and I work very, very close to the house in the community centre, and be doing the food for older people.
Ireland is called the Emerald Island.
The Emerald Isle, yeah.
Why? Could you
Why?
explain?
The emerald is like a diamond, so is a green in colour, and they say for here because the country is very green, and so the emerald, the green, like this, and mainly it's because like on a day like today when there's so much rain, we have so much grass that is so green, then we have the Emerald Isle.
Perfect.
But it's changing a lot now, and there's many more buildings, towns, cities getting bigger all the time. So maybe it will be something in the past, in the future. The Emerald Isle.
Which languages are spoken in your country?
English would be the number one, but Irish is the official. But it's only spoken day to day in 4 main places. It's called the Gaeltacht, more or less Irish house. So you have in the north in Donegal, down in Galway, down in Kerry, and I think the other is across in Waterford, Wexford, Waterford, one for the other. On the east side, but very small areas. So it's not so many people that would speak day to day, but everybody learns in school. But there's no emphasis put on children to speak it as a day to day language, and for that reason, it's not a dead language, but there's a very small percentage of people that use it day to day, and a very small percentage of people that actually know any words to communicate enough with somebody, which is a shame because they spend a lot of money on it, and it's a language that's official in the European Union. So, yeah, English is the number one, I think. But now there are many different peoples from many different parts of the world, and every day we hear many different things from Portuguese and Spanish, Italian, some African languages. So slowly it's starting to open, but still English.
And Jonathan, I remember we watched a movie together. Do you remember Angela's Ashes? And it tells about the Great Famine in Ireland. How was it, and how was the people's life at that time?
So really, the Angela's Ashes was a story from the city. People didn't have very much, and yeah, it would not be unusual for people to be hungry, and they didn't have heat, and they didn't have many times you would hear the stories of children going to school, they don't have the shoes or the clothes, and it wouldn't be anything unusual to hear this from people's families even today.
Nowadays, Ireland is much better. Like, what changed economically?
It has the image of being much better. In the last 40 years, things have changed so much. Before that, many people would leave to go outside the United States, England, Australia. Then after the 70s and half of the 80s, a lot of American companies set up here because of the tax, and it created a lot of employment, and people started to find a better way. But while today you have Dublin, for instance, it's home to Facebook, Google, Yahoo, all these big companies and international finance companies. It's the most expensive place now in Europe to live, and for that reason, many people can't afford to live where they would be from originally. Maybe in a small area of Dublin is now changed completely to €1 million apartments, and this creates a big problem because there is no investment, there is no plan for making homes and houses, apartments for people. So it's a big situation that on one side of the hand you have $1 million apartment, no trouble for somebody to rent or buy from an international company, they earn a lot of money, and on the other side local traditional people can't afford to buy anything because everything is too expensive, and you have a big problem now with people living on the street. They don't have a home, and many people are below the line that they would recognise to be poor, to be the poverty line. Many people are below that now, and in the last years we've had two economic booms where things were very big and very good for many people, more so for the people that had money, investment people, bankers. The bankers destroyed the country the first time because they played too much dangerous investments with the money that was belonged to the people, and then ask for in return money to help them at the end. So that was a crazy situation that we had to bail out the banks, and until 3-4 generations down the line, people will still have to pay the money to pay this loan back. So we will never be outside the system. So while you have on one an image of Ireland that's prosperous and good, and it's not too bad for most people, there is also a very bad side to it for people that can't find somewhere to live, don't have enough food to eat, can't find work for whatever reasons, and then they turn to drugs and alcohol, and it just creates a bigger problem. And sometimes that is not the news story that people want to see, but it should be.
Something really simple now.
Why is the weather the most talked subject here?
People here talk a lot, and usually if you meet somebody on the street, people will always make time to say hello, and the first thing you say is the weather is good, the weather is bad, and it's a kind of a traditional thing that people here love to talk about the weather, because while it changes a lot, it's still very much the same almost all the time, because we have the current is coming, across the south of the Atlantic, and we depend on this for many things, to keep everything good in one respect, to supply the rain when we need it. But without this current coming across, we would be in a very bad situation that people don't realise, because if the wind is coming from the north, so you have ice. If the wind is coming south, without the currents, it can be too hot, much too hot. So for us, the weather is always something important.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think because many years the country was, the main industry was farming, so it was important to the farmers and the people that would work in that area to know about the weather, and there are many old ways that they would know that the weather is coming good or bad. For the animals would change their mood or direction, the birds would change their mood or direction, and people learned to read if bad weather is coming or good weather is coming. And some people think it's old hocus pocus, but I think the people survived a long time without the radio and the television and the internet to learn about the weather, so boom, it must be something in their traditions.
And do you listen to Irish music? Do you remember some bands?
In traditional or everything?
Everything.
Yeah, many things over the years. I guess that maybe now you look back at some of the bands that were, and you did not appreciate so much because they were just Irish, they weren't American or English, and so like Rory Gallagher, Tin Lizzy, U2 even, people were slow to recognise them because here there is a very big and bad culture of people putting down somebody who is successful. It's a bad part of the persona of the Irish. They will put you down for doing something good very quickly for no reason, only they're jealous. So, but mostly the best of the music here was always going to be their traditional style of music, because it's from hundreds of years handed down, and the same instruments and the same tunes, but there never was a school to teach, so it would come from grandfather to father to son, grandmother to daughter to granddaughter, and people would gather in the houses to play, and it would continually pass down, so it's never changed, and that's something that's more important than any rock and roll.
Now we are going to talk about other countries, because Jonathan is a fan of traveling and experience other cultures. So, do you know how many countries have you been?
Maybe not so many, but some of them I go back to time after time after time. Before, like in Israel or in Italy or in Holland, Argentina, these ones I've been to many times, but I don't know, 30, 40 maybe, something. And sometimes you go to a place like Egypt or Morocco, which is a little different and nice, good to see. Yeah, but still, when this Corona is finished, I would like to do some more, and two things are very much have to be done. One is to India, and then one more to do in South America, and then the rest is just small things from around Europe and everything. So,
do you always have someone from another country living in your house?
Only the past couple years, 4 people here, one from Chile, and one girl for a little while was here. She was from France. And yeah, it's better for me that to have somebody from outside, so you can have a little bit more experience of their thinking, their way, than to have somebody that would be more or less that you would meet a bigger chance to meet more on day to day, somebody from Ireland or England or something like this, where everything would be very much the same way. So it's better to have people from outside to learn more about the culture and about them and what they like and what they don't like and how they are, and yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. That's it. That's all.
Is it?